in answer to the question, what is this podcast about? It's based on a book that I'm in the process of writing. And the reason I'm writing this book is because I believe that when life happens to us, when we go through tragedy and pain, that there are three choices. And the three choices are: it can define us, it can destroy us, or it can strengthen us. And I think that as we go through tragedy, we go through all three of those things. I am now, more than 10 years past my marriage to an alcoholic sociopath. And after it took probably a good 10 years to actually come to a point where I feel like I've been strengthened by my experiences, and I've been able to look at my experiences and actually see them for what they were. But it was through time, space, separation from the experience, and through having people like my partner who could help me look at my experiences in a way that I didn't even know I should look at my experiences, because I was very busy just going, no, everything's normal. My life is normal. I've never wanted to be a problem. I've never wanted to cause other people a problem. I've never wanted to complain. And so through being like that, I also didn't fully acknowledge what was happening to me. And so to start off my book, I've separated it out into sections, and I've just started by writing stories of everyday life that I experienced whilst being married to an alcoholic sociopath. So the various topics that I will be covering are having a family with an alcoholic sociopath and the things that happen as a result of that. What happens to your relationship with family and friends, breaking up with an alcoholic sociopath and what that can look like. What happens to your finances and your financial stability whilst married to an alcoholic sociopath. And all the various types of abuse that you receive as a part of being so intimately connected with an alcoholic sociopath. So during this podcast, I'm going to read out stories from my book and then use those as a platform for discussion and diving deeper into what that looks like, how that affects us, and how we can maybe use these things to spot before it becomes a problem. Can I just say that every individual story I tell is not necessarily an indication of a sociopath or an alcoholic. It's a combination of all of those things that actually make a person a sociopath. And so when looking at each individual story, you might see something similar in your life, but don't instantly assume that you're married to or connected to a sociopath. You have to look at the whole picture and many of the stories in order to really get a proper look at that. So what will my book be called? That's a great question. So I have a few different titles that I'm playing with. Because my book is in its formative stages, I haven't really come up with an exact title. But here's some suggestions that I have that I'm working with. So number one, I survived an alcoholic sociopath, so you don't have to. You don't have to marry an alcoholic sociopath to learn how to avoid one. The best time to avoid an alcoholic sociopath is before you marry them. Alcoholic sociopaths, all you need to know. So let me know what you think of those various titles. I'd be really interested to know the general thoughts on that, because when I get to a point of publishing my book, I need to then have my title all prepared and ready. So what do I hope to achieve with this podcast? I guess I want to open a discussion. I want to have a safe place where people can talk about the things that they've experienced. But I also want to enlighten, and through my stories, I hope to help people look at their relationships in a different way, and possibly stop them from getting into a situation where they're under the thumb of a sociopath. Help people move away from things if they're already stuck in a situation with a sociopath. Because as I said, it wasn't until 10 years after I left my sociopath that I could fully look at it and realized that I was even with a sociopath. They are so good. They're so good at disguising what they do and how they do it, that we really need to have a key, like a things to look out for, but in the real world, based on stories and things that you can relate to in your life. So in making this podcast and also in writing my book, I'm hoping to enlighten people as to what it is to live with a sociopath, and mine was an alcoholic sociopath, and how you can identify that and then help you to hopefully move away from that or get into a better situation.